What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of viewer-submitted clone builds. Be sure to check out the link in the description for a playlist of all the previous episodes in the series. Last week, I asked my followers on Instagram to send me their clones, along with parts lists and some basic info about their builds. The following submissions were chosen based on how closely they replicated the original service weapon, while also prioritizing builds that went the extra mile to copy even the smallest details. Lastly, if you guys want this series to continue, then let me know by liking and commenting on this video, as well as subscribing to the channel. Also, quick note before we get into this episode's submissions, it's that time of year again. It's time to register for Clone Rifle Shoot 2025, taking place at Southington Hunt Club in Garrettsville, Ohio, on October 18th and the 19th. Come join us for a weekend full of clones, prizes, rental machine guns, and a night vision shoot. This year is shaping up to be the biggest one yet, with sponsors such as Allen Engineering, Ohio Ordnance, and more. I'll leave a link in the description where you can get registered, so be sure to leave a comment below if you're planning to attend, and I will see you guys there. We're starting off this episode strong with a Mark 17 Mod 0 build submitted by @GrillaOps. Fun fact, the picture that this rifle's based off of is one of my favorite in the wild photos, featuring a seal with his 13-inch Scar 17 overlooking a hillside. The build list is on the screen, and most notably includes an entire deployment kit complete with 2 different barrel lengths, magazines, an operator's manual, and maintenance kits. The owner states that he substituted the correct AAC 18-tooth suppressor mount for a Griffin PSR-7 over the barrel mount due to the limited availability of the clone correct AAC suppressor. He also notes that the hardest part to obtain for this build was the NAVC marked LA5 Echo. Seeing this build in my inbox really makes me regret selling my nearly identical Mark 17 build that I had several years ago. Our second submission comes from Aaron and is an outstanding clone of the M110A1 CSASS. While the original CSASS, or Compact Semi-Automatic Sniper System, was never actually fielded by the military, HK did award a contract back in 2016 to replace the aging Knights Armament M110. Based on the HK-417, a platform which has seen a recent revival in the clone community, this program was eventually revived as the SDMR, or Squad Designated Marksman Rifle. The parts list is on the screen with notable components including the HK G28 stock and the Schmidt & Bender PM2 3x20 Ultra Short rifle scope, both of which the modern SDMR lacks. I think I can speak for all of us when I say that I'm incredibly jealous of this high-dollar clone of a rifle that definitely deserved to be put into service. This next submission is from @Based Firearms and is his Mark 12 Mod 1. Albeit not the most uncommon rifle to clone, I was a little biased towards this entry given that I assembled it myself, and have also uploaded an ASMR-style video showing the process from beginning to end. The parts list is on screen, with notable components being the H&R M16A1 lower receiver, the PEC-2A laser aiming module, as well as the ARMS tactical ring rail, which was cut down by yours truly to allow the mounting of a doctor sight behind the elevation turret. This mod has been seen on multiple real Mark 12s, as well as one of the movie props used in the film Lone Survivor. If you would like to see this rifle's assembly, I'll leave the link in the video description, and as always, head over to Based Firearms page and bully him for not painting his clones. To absolutely no one's surprise, our fourth submission comes from our friend Joel at Otter Weapon Works, who has sent in 2 modern-day carbines used by Tier 1 groups within US SOCOM. The first rifle is a clone of a Delta HK416 tannadized build, featuring a plethora of tan HK parts and accessories. The parts list is on screen, with notable parts including the Geisley SMR handguard, the Surefire FA556-212 suppressor with the updated SOCOM locking collar, and an FDE anodized receiver set, which, fun fact, Joel has uploaded a video going over on his channel, which you should definitely check out. Joel's second submission is a clone of the Noveske carbine currently being fielded by DevGru. These clones have taken off in popularity since they entered the public eye a few years ago, since they're a rare example of a service rifle that isn't heavy and/or woefully outdated. The parts list is on screen, with notable parts including the Noveske Gen 1 lower receiver paired with a Gen 3 upper receiver, along with a 9-inch NSR handguard, and a 10.5-inch Navy profile barrel. It's worth mentioning that these rifles are issued in both 5.56 as well as 300 Blackout, with Joel choosing the latter for his build. Thanks as always for your submissions, Joel. This next submission comes to us from @Mule Acquisitions and is also a double feature. The first rifle sent in should look familiar to longtime viewers of this series. This build is once again a clone of the infamous ODA 3212 M4A1, made famous by its use during the Tongo Tongo ambush and immortalized in the documentary 3212 Unredacted. The first and only other time I've seen a clone of this rifle was with Joel from Otter Weapon Works, whom the owner of this rifle credits as inspiration for building his own. The parts list is on screen, with notable parts including the LA5 Bravo, the M110 optics package, and the ever-elusive SQFS, or Sniper Quickfire Sight, mounted on top of the scope. His second submission is an example of a commonly cloned rifle simply done right. This rifle is a clone of a USMC M4A1, which he states is simple, heavy, and classic. The base rifle is an FN Collector Series M4 with an LMT M203 grenade launcher, as well as a Knights Armament NT4 suppressor and a PEC 16, which he states was the hardest part to find. And let's not forget the USMC spec Trijicon TA31 ACOG, which altogether ensures that this Marine's backpain will definitely be categorized as service-related. Our sixth submission comes to us from Biggie Irons here on YouTube and is another USMC rifle, albeit a little more up to date. This build is a clone of an M27 IAR, outfitted in the same fashion as the modern Marine musket. The base rifle used for this build is one of 1,000 MR27s sold by HK USA, though this rifle has been made even more correct with the addition of a bayonet lug, which HK apparently forgot to include in the first place. The parts list is on screen, with notable components being the KAC NT4 suppressor, the Trijicon VCOG 1x8, and a USMC marked Knights Armament rear sight. Aside from the commercial markings on the rifle receiver, this rifle is indistinguishable from the real thing and looks like it's ready to endure the abuse that only a Marine can inflict on his equipment. Our seventh submission comes from AK-47 Catalog on YouTube and Instagram, and is the oldest clone of the day. This build is based on a late 90s recce rifle seen in use by Delta, which has a very cool aesthetic unique to the time period. The owner explains that the base rifle is a late 90s Colt AR-15A3 tactical carbine, which was outfitted with an Armalite free-float tube modified to accommodate a front sight base by his local gunsmith. The optic is a 1.5 to 4.5 by 20 microdot, which is actually the predecessor to the venerable short dot scope from Schmidt & Bender. Surprisingly, the owner states that the hardest part of this build to track down was the NT4 suppressor, as the handguard was just a matter of buying a complete Armalite upper and robbing the handguard from it, while the scope was easily sourced while he lived in Germany. For a build that is nearing 30 years of age, I think these hold up surprisingly well, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. This next submission comes from Mason, and is a clone of a somewhat obscure service weapon used by 5th Group Army Special Forces in the mid to late 2000s. While these carbines look similar to a CQBR-equipped M4A1, in reality they use upper receivers made by LaRue Tactical. As the owner goes on to explain, this upper is a surplus item which found its way onto the civilian market last year, at which point he was lucky enough to snag one of the 35 that were available for civilian purchase. It may be hard to believe that 5th Group actually held on to these rifles for nearly 2 decades before letting them go, but keep in mind that 5th Group is still known to dust off their Mark 12 Mod Holland rifles from time to time. The scarce photos that exist of these rifles in theater show the 10.5-inch version being paired with a Knights Armament NT4 suppressor, which Mason states was the most difficult part to track down. Other notable parts include an EOTech SU-231, a Surefire M900 weapon light, and a Yankee Hill front sight, which are all faithful to how it was originally equipped. We know this because Mason stated he was actually able to talk to the Green Beret this upper was previously issued to, aided by the fact that it still bears the original user's name on the receiver. Apparently this upper was carried during a 2007 through 2008 deployment to Iraq, and was rarely used suppressed, as keeping the gun short and compact was helpful for the operator's role as an assaulter. Overall, this is a very impressive build with an equally impressive story behind it, so thank you Mason for sending it in. Our ninth and final submission comes from @SecondChanceGear, and is a clone of a service rifle dubbed the 28th EOD Mark 18. While that isn't an official name, the clone community collectively refers to these builds as such due to their similarities to the actual Mark 18, though with some SOP-mod adjacent design choices. Despite also utilizing a Colt 10.3-inch barrel, the iconic RIS-2 handguard has been exchanged for a Daniel Defense Light FSP rail. Also unique to these builds is a Surefire M720V raid weapon light and a Surefire mini suppressor. Though the model of the suppressor used on the original rifles would have been a Legacy series can, the owner of this rifle has instead used a SOCOM series suppressor. Finally, this build was topped off with an EOTech XPS-3 bearing the original L3 logo, which is sitting on top of a LaRue LT-110 riser mount. Longtime viewers of this channel will know that I have a soft spot for EOD clones, so thanks to the owner for sending this one in. After seeing all these cool clone builds, do me a favor and tell me which one was your favorite down in the comments below. Did any of these inspire you to start your next project, or make changes to already completed builds? Let me know if you want to see more of this series, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.